and privilege to welcome you to the 14th Annual Herbert Lieberman Award for Community Service. Mazel tov to Scott Kalmakoff and to the entire Kalmakoff family. The entire Staten Island community. Thank you to the board for all your support and for coming here tonight to celebrate this occasion. Thank you to the incredible office team who put this event together. In previous years, actually in the last few years, we presented the Lieberman Award at the Chag HaSmicha. So this is, we're going back to this form. I like this a lot. You will see around the room posters of previous award winners. They're not all here, but when you have a moment, please go around the room and see what our Musmachim have been doing or did when they were students at YCT. I would also like to acknowledge Rabbi Maurice Applebaum, class of 2009. Who was the previous award winner. Maurice is the rabbi of the Greenpoint Shul in Brooklyn and the chaplaincy supervisor at the healthcare chaplaincy. How's that, Maurice? Okay. It's great to have you with us. Sloan Kettering, at Sloan Kettering in Manhattan. Okay. It is my pleasure to introduce the president of Yeshivat Chobei Torah, Rabbi Asher Lopatin.
I want to say Rav Maurice is now training our students who are doing clinical pastoral education for the summer. So it's just amazing to see Midor Lador, to see from someone who learns at our yeshiva, trained with Michelle Friedman, and the full staff of our pastoral education, and now advancing to really give back and to train our students. So really, we're really honored to have you here. It's a great honor to just open this this dinner and this evening, and Bershut, our Rosh HaYeshiva, Rav Linzer, and Bershut, our Miyaseid, Rav Avi, our Rebbe, Rav Avi. I just want to say a few words. It's Steve, to see you, and Sharon, and then to see the next generation also, Rachel. I want to talk about that, but I first want to talk about your father in the context of a beautiful Rambam at the end of the laws of Shemitah and Yovel, the Jubilee year, after the Rambam has talked about the role of the Kohanim and the Levim and all the gifts that our priestly class get and that our Levites get. Steve, you guys are Yisraelim, right? You're just like us, like many of us here, as regulars. So the Rambam, at the end of dealing with all these halachot, and we've studied them in Parshat Naso, in Behalotcha. This week we read also about the dedication of the Levim. He says, "V'lo shevet Levi bilvan." No, it's not just the tribe of Levi bilvan. Ela kol ish v'ish. Any person, he called ba'ei olam, any person from all those in the world, asher nadvar ruchoto v'hivino mada'o, but a person whose spirit says, I want to give back. I want to give to the community. And his mada'o, his understanding of the world, tells him, in this case it's a hymn, Lehibadel amo lifnei Hashem l'sharto l'ovdo. A person says, I want to serve God, and I would add, I want to serve the community. I want to serve like the Levim served, like the Kohanim served. The halach yashar kmo she'asahu Elokim, and a person who walks straight and does the right thing as God has told him, God has made him, and has put aside a lot of the practical calculations of maybe how to make more money in this world or get farther in a career. but has decided to live his life like a Levi, serving the people, serving the community. That person, the Yiske Hashem, Yihyeh Hashem Chelko V'Nachalato Le'olam U'Olmei Olamim. God will be his share and his inheritance forever and ever. V'Yizkalo Be'olam Hazeh. And he'll have enough in this world to survive. And Steve, your father had enough to survive. But Le'olmei Olamim, the legacy that such a person who gives to the community and is devoted, as your father was, to this community, to Riverdale, to the city, that person has his share in the world to come and his legacy in this world forever and ever. And I just want to say that not only that person, not only your father and your grandfather, Rachel, but in this week's Parsha, Moshe says, I don't want it just to be me. I don't want it just to be about me. So when Eldad and Medad get the prophecy in this week's Parsha, and Yoshua is all scandalized, Moshe says, Vayomer lo Moshe Mekaneh atali. Do you care about me? I wish everyone, the next generation, the generation of Yehoshua, and beyond that would become Nevi'im, would become people that also transmit the message of God. And I must say that your father, Steve, would be so proud, I know was proud of you and your family, and would be proud to see the commitment that you have, the continuation of his legacy of serving and giving back. And Steve, you're involved in every kind of venture, not just the chairman of our board, the chairman emeritus of our board, but in any kind of important venture, whether it is to appear in court, to fight for Chabad, whether it's to think about how we can form new communities where we need modern Orthodox communities, whatever it is, your father has passed down that beautiful Levite trait to you and to the generation after you. I know what Rachel is studying, and she's studying also how to commit to the Jewish community and to serve the Jewish community. So the Rambam's right. The Rambam's right that anyone can become a Levi if they're willing to devote their lives. And tonight we're going to celebrate a man who devoted his life, and we're going to look at the next generations, at you, at Rachel, at Scott and our yeshiva, really representing all of our Talmidim who are the next generation, who are committing their lives to Avodat Hashem and to Am Yisrael. And so I just want to wish to the entire Lieberman family and to all of us that the blessings from Herbert Lieberman, who was so dedicated to community, should really be La'olmei Olmei Alamim forever and ever, and should continue through us to change this world and to leave a true legacy, an everlasting legacy in this world.
And now it's my honor to call up Rabbi Mark Angel, who I consider a friend, who is the Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation Sheriff Israel, the Spanish-Portuguese shul on the west, Kehillah on the west side, and the founder and director of the Institute for Jewish Ideas and Ideals. He will be the featured speaker. Rabbi Angel.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here this evening. Mazal tov to Scott on this wonderful honor. May it be a source of strength to you and to the entire community. A word of thank you to Stephen and Lieberman and wife and family. This will be a beautiful occasion and in memory of your father. May rest in peace. Well, I'll tell you one of my favorite stories. There was in the old country a beautiful little Jewish community, and there was a very wise old man who only had one shortcoming. He was what they call in Sephardic a Luftmensch. He couldn't hold a job. His mind was always floating here and there in the next place. And because he was unable to earn a living, each Friday he would come to the rabbi and and the rabbi would give him a handout. But the rabbi felt very bad. Here's this poor fellow, he's wise, he's learned, and he has to beg for help each and every week. So the rabbi called a meeting of the board. He said, listen, we have to come up with a job for this guy. No one wants to hire him. He just doesn't, he's not good at work. So they thought, and someone came up with an idea. They were going to build a big lifeguard chair and put it on the road leading into the town. And this man would be hired to sit on that chair. His job would be to look up the road. And when the Mashiach comes, his job will be to run in and tell everybody, come and announce the coming of the Mashiach, the Messiah. Everyone will be able to get dressed up and greet the Messiah appropriately. They all liked that idea. Very nice. So next time this gentleman comes to the rabbi says, good news, I have a job for you. What is it? He describes. You sit on this chair, you keep your eye on the road. As soon as the Messiah comes, you'll come and let us know. So the man was very happy. So the first week he works, and then on Friday he comes to get his paycheck. The rabbi said, how's it going? He said, well, it's slow. So goes back to work. Next week he comes again on Friday. The rabbi said, well, how's it going? He said, well, you know, it's work. The third week he comes, and the rabbi gives him his money. He says, how's it going? Rabbi, I quit. You quit? Why? He has too much pressure. Now, it's a Jewish joke. And Jewish jokes have great wisdom in them. So I want to parse this for you. I told you at the beginning, you were the wise man, a learned man. What pressure is there to sit on a chair and look up the road? How hard can that be? And the answer is, there's a lot of pressure. And that pressure, actually, is a pressure of every Jewish person in the world, and a lot of people who aren't Jewish. What is the pressure? Waiting for Mashiach is a very hard job. It requires infinite patience. He's not coming this year? Okay, he'll come next year. Not next year, 100 years. Not 100 years, 1,000 years. We'll wait. We're patient. Infinitely patient. At the same time, waiting for the Mashiach makes us infinitely impatient. The world is full of injustice, crime, hatred, violence, terrorism. We really want to wait 100 years or 1,000 years for it to be solved? We really want the world to be better 2,000 years from now or 5,000 years from now? No. We're very impatient. We want to change the world now. We want to make things better now. And therefore, each of us, knowingly or unknowingly, has within us this tremendous pressure, great pressure, to be calm, relaxed, spiritual, serene, and wait. And at the same time, this incredible impatience that doesn't let us sit down straight. And we have to balance it. And if we can't balance it, we say, too much pressure, I quit. But the Jewish people over the last 3,500 years, we haven't quit. We're still here kicking, making noise. We're still very patient, waiting for the day when, in fact, real peace will come to the world. But we're also impatient. We want to change the world. And this program tonight really celebrates both of those qualities. We come to an institution like the yeshiva. What is the yeshiva for? It's to teach us deep spiritual values, to learn the Torah, to learn the Talmud, to learn God's Word, how to conduct our lives in an ethical and righteous fashion. It teaches us to be very patient. At the same time, as this program verifies, it teaches us our job isn't to sit down in a quiet room and learn only. Our job is to see how are we going to change the world. We're impatient. We don't want things to stay the way they are. There's a very famous book, since I know about it, but no one else does, by a man named Meir Ben Ayahu. And it's a book about rabbis. No one pays much attention to such a book. It's in Hebrew, out of print for a long time. But in this book, he describes titles that rabbis were known by. And one of the phrases is Marbitz Torah. The rabbi is supposed to teach Torah. We all understand that. Then another phrase, especially in the Sephardic community, is the rabbi is a chacham. He's supposed to be wise. It doesn't mean only smart with an IQ. It means street smart. How do you relate to people in a meaningful and intelligent way? And then there's another phrase, which goes back to Talmudic times. It's called Chaver Ha'ir. The rabbi has to be known as the friend of the city. It's a phrase we don't use very much anymore, but it's a phrase that captures a very important thing. Chaver in Talmudic time often referred to someone who's very punctilious in religious observance. And it might mean that. But it might also mean, Chaver Ha'ir, someone who really cares about people, who looks in their eyes and sees a human being, who relates to human beings on a human level, and says, how can I help? How can I change the world? How can I create dialogue among people who might not ordinarily talk to each other? How can we make the world better? How can I be patient and impatient at the same time? One of my rabbinic heroes was Rabbi Ben-Zion Uziel, who was the chief rabbi of Israel from 1939 until his death in 1953. He was the chief rabbi before there was officially a state of Israel. He was a great Sephardic rabbi, a great human being. And one of the concepts that he emphasizes in his writings is a phrase called Yeshuvah Shel Olam, the requirement to be involved in the settlement of the world. We're not supposed to be a sect separated from the universe. Some people think God gave us the Torah at Sinai. Let's go back to that a moment. We just had celebrated Shavuot. Hundreds of thousands of people around Mount Sinai. God, in a moment of great glory, comes to the people and gives us the Ten Commandments. Changed the whole world. Didn't just change the people of Israel. It changed the whole world. What did God have in mind? There's a midrash, or rabbinic teaching, that says when God gave the Ten Commandments, He gave it in 70 languages. Now, our sages were very wise, but they knew that the Israelites who were around the mountain did not know 70 languages. It was lucky if they knew one or two. 70 they certainly didn't know. So what are the rabbis telling us? That the Torah was given in 70 languages. They're telling us the Torah has a message for all the nations of the world. In those days, they believed there were 70 nations of the world. When the Torah was given, it was a message that we received to give to everybody, not for ourselves. Imagine that God, in His infinite wisdom, I can't speak too well, I'm only an angel, I'm not God. I'm just speculating. God, in His infinite wisdom, goes all the trouble to have this great event at Mount Sinai. You saw the movie, so you know what happened. And the reason He did this is so that in a couple of thousand years, there would be an enclave in Borough Park and in Bnei Barak, and that would solve the problem. It's not, I'm only an angel, right? I can't conceive that that was God's goal. God's goal, it seems to me, and the rabbis, by saying that there were 70 languages when the Torah was given, our job is to be out. To have a message and share the message. To be involved in Yeshuvah Shel Olam, and creating a better world for everybody. When Rabbi Uziel was made the chief rabbi, it was in 1939, he made a radio broadcast. And he spoke in Hebrew, of course. At the end of his speech, he switched into Arabic. He says to my Arabic-speaking brothers and sisters, I'm your chief rabbi also. My office is open to you. Together, the Jews, Muslims, Christians, we're going to build this land together. It belongs to all of us. I haven't heard our chief rabbi say that for a long time. This was a man who thought we have to create a society based on justice, based on compassion, based on understanding. Wow. Infinitely patient, but infinitely impatient. One of my other heroes, more recent hero, was Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik. Many of us had the occasion to study with at Yeshiva University and to the Rabbinical Council and other forums. Rabbi Soloveitchik was a great admirer of his grandfather, Rabbi Chaim Brisk. And in one of his books, Rabbi Soloveitchik writes as follows. Rabbi Chaim was asked, how do you describe the function of a rabbi? Rabbi Chaim answered, to redress the grievances of those who are abandoned and alone, to protect the dignity of the poor, to save the oppressed from the hands of the oppressor. Rabbi Soloveitchik wrote, neither ritual decisions nor political leadership constitutes the main task of halakhic man. Far from it. The actualization of the ideals of justice and righteousness is a pillar of fire which halakhic man follows when he, as a rabbi and teacher in Israel, serves his community. Well, sometimes people think, what is a rabbi supposed to be? I've been a rabbi for 50 years, I'm still not sure. It's a hard job to figure out. But one thing we're supposed to be is learning. We're supposed to devote our time to learning. We go to Rav Linzer for their questions, and Rav Linzer is a classic example of a great Talmid Chacham. But it's not just to be a Talmid Chacham. We have to learn. And I always advise all students, all young rabbis, once you stop learning, you run out of gas. You're not going to be a rabbi anymore. You'll be a phony. You'll be a fraud. I know too many rabbis. Rabbi Weiss may know such rabbis also. They've been in the business for a long time, and they just burn out. And they just run on old fuel. That's not alive. You have to keep learning, because learning is our fuel. Learning keeps us alive. But that's not our main task. We learn in order to do something. And that in order to do is, as Rav Soloveitchik quoted, to redress the sufferings of the poor, to care for the needy, to care for the lonely, to try to create bridges among different segments of the community, which is what Scott is going to be doing in his work with this fellowship. That's what we're doing. That's what it's all about. I think sometimes you got to go to the Grand Canyon for 8 days and turn off the radio, or turn off your computer, and put your watch away, and just think. And we just clear out all the garbage that hits us every day, every moment, and try to put life into perspective. We have a chance to regather what this man had when he sat on the lifeguard chair looking for the Messiah. I want to remind myself of my infinite patience. I want to remind myself why I'm here on this earth. I want to remind myself how important it is to be a spiritual, kind, thoughtful, spiritually strong person, quiet and serene and patient, willing to wait forever for ultimate redemption. But I also remember, after getting out of the Grand Canyon, there's a world out there that needs me. Each one of us is needed. Each one of us can make a difference. Each one of us can feel that pressure. And that pressure is what makes us into a great people, and that pressure makes us into great individuals. Unless we feel that pressure, we're not going to be able to succeed with the mission that God gave us. So at the end of this little talk, I want to say Chazak u'Baruch to Scott, and God strengthen you in your work. The whole yeshiva should be blessed. We have wonderful students here, wonderful faculty, wonderful president, wonderful founding rabbi. This is an extraordinary institution. All of you who support this institution, you're on the right channel. You're doing the right work. We're all sitting on that lifeguard chair looking up the road. We're all full of impatience. We're all full of patience. And you know what? We're not going to quit.
For those of you who don't know her, Rachel Lieberman is an absolute rock star. She has been the family representative, helping us to envision and plan this Lieberman program since she was in high school and through her time at Princeton. And while she was reinvigorating JOFA, and while she was getting ready for graduate school. And Rachel is strong and level-headed and rational and sensitive and kind and caring, and it has been an absolute joy to work with you, Rachel. And Rachel is getting married Labor Day weekend, so mazel tov to Rachel and Jaron. Oh, Simon, Simon, mazel, mazel tov. I know you like to dance, Rachel. La 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 la.
And I have to say, I've been hanging around this for long enough that I've learned a few rabbinic tricks from the rabbis here, and so I want to say thank you to Ruthie. What I've learned from this teacher is that singing and dancing is great, but it's also a good way to give the speaker some time to take a breath, to figure out what you're going to say. You know, it's good. It has a lot of benefits. Thank you for giving me that opportunity as well. I appreciate it. And thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. It's really exciting for our family to be here celebrating with you. Thank you to all of the students and all of the alumni who have participated in the application and the award process over the years. We do it because we enjoy learning from you, learning about you, and seeing the ways that you're going outside of the walls of the yeshiva to really impact the world, and that is an honor and a privilege for us. So thank you for doing that. And thank you to Rabbi Angel for joining us tonight. And thank you to the YCT staff for all of the work that you've done to put together this event and to help us facilitate the process this year and every year as well. So in 2002, a year after my Saba passed away, we came up with the idea to honor him through a community service award at YCT, which was then a brand new Orthodox rabbinical school. Some of my Saba's friends, colleagues, and relatives were puzzled by the decision. For those of you who knew him, my Saba was an avid and a frequent golfer. After he retired, he and my grandmother moved to Florida part-time, where they lived on the golf course, and he played golf 4 or 5 times a week. For him, golf was a social endeavor, a way to engage with friends, with business partners, and with family. He frequently went on golf trips and played with my father and with my other grandfather. He was always my teammate for mini golf. He bought my brother a set of golf clubs to learn when my brother was only about 4 years old. And he even played 1 round of golf each week in Florida with my grandmother. His den was filled with golf trophies, some of them nearly 4 feet tall, and golf-related memorabilia. In contrast, he was not an avid and frequent shul goer. However, he was very consistent. Every year, once a year, on Yom Kippur, he and my grandmother walked across the street from their home in the Algiers, to attend Yom Kippur services here at the Hebrew Institute, perhaps in this very room. So, of course, we chose the obvious choice. We chose not to honor him with a memorial golf tournament, or a plaque, or a donated golf cart at the golf club, but with an award at an Orthodox yeshiva. And I've thought about this decision a lot over the years. Initially, I thought it was an odd choice, and I think that's significant too. However, it was a deeply intentional choice by our family, a choice that I believe has borne significant dividends. While golf was definitely a passion of my Saba's, one of his other passions was improving his local community, particularly the Riverdale community. He was born in the Bronx and lived here for nearly his entire life, with a brief stint in Paris during the Korean War and in Fort Lee, New Jersey after my grandparents married. He fought to bring the first group homes for people with special needs to Riverdale, dispelling the myths that the homes were filled with deviants who would terrorize the neighborhood and that their establishment would lower property values. He eventually convinced the community that the homes would be an asset rather than a liability, and as a result of this fight, group homes are an integral piece of the Riverdale community today. As chairman of the Traffic and Transportation Committee, he forced the city to fix dangerous roads and intersections, preventing many injuries and deaths. When New York City wished to build the Tibbet Gardens housing complex at the site of the JFK High School, my grandfather founded CORP, Citizens Organized for Responsible Planning, to fight for an educational park at that site instead. For 5 years, he spearheaded this fight, going up against Mayor Koch and many of the city's most powerful real estate interests, bringing a case all the way to the New York Court of Appeals. He was the chairman of the community board in Riverdale. He served on the executive boards of PS24 and MS141. He was the president of the Association of Riverdale Co-ops and of the Algiers Co-op Board. He was the the chairman of the golf committee at Briar Hill Country Club. He even had a sign on his desk that said, Herb Lieberman, director of everything. Often it felt like he was. He took these leadership positions because in each case, he saw things that needed improvement, and he was not willing to wait for someone else to make those changes. For those of you who knew him, he was a very impatient man. He took it upon himself to speak to the necessary individuals and to make sure the changes happened and that the things he wanted to accomplish were done. As you can see, Maisaba's legacy was very much one of community service, purposeful leadership, and a commitment towards improving his community. So perhaps situating the award at YCT really was the obvious choice. I like to think that he would have been very proud of the way YCT has trained Orthodox rabbis to be outward-facing, to be engaged in the world, and to be engaged in their communities in a very different way from the Orthodox rabbis he encountered in his childhood. Over the years, we've seen Maisaba's passion reflected in the service, chesed, thoughtful, inclusive, and passionate leadership of many YCT students and alumni. We saw many of these attributes reflected in this year's award recipient, Scott Kalmakoff. Throughout this process, we have had the privilege of getting to know Scott and learning about his commitments to a wide range of causes. We learned about his work on Staten Island, his work with the Hebrew Free Burial Society, his work with teens, and his work with rabbinical students. There are two things I learned about Scott that reminded me of Maisaba. First was Scott's commitment to the Jewish community on Staten Island, to teaching Hebrew school, to being involved in the shuls there, to organizing boards and committees across denominations to create a more unified Jewish community. Scott's passion for working in his local community is admirable and reminded me a lot of Maisaba's work here in Riverdale. Scott demonstrates the importance of putting down roots and building strong relationships among local institutions. Second, Scott shared with us that he has been facilitating a multi-denominational Beit Midrash for rabbinical students, where they can learn Torah together, build relationships, and share some of the successes and challenges of being in a rabbinical school. When Scott discussed his leadership style and his leadership in the group, he placed a strong emphasis on collaboration and building consensus and gave very significant credit to his co-leaders and co-facilitators in this group. On the surface, this might appear to be the polar opposite of Maisaba's leadership style, which was Herb's way or the highway. However, Scott was firm but flexible in our discussion. He had a clear vision of how he wanted the Beit Midrash to function and was happy to collaborate with others and with us in order to get buy-in and to work towards that vision, but he was still very committed to ensuring that there was a clear vision and that was going to take place. And these two qualities really stuck out to us. And I'm sure that many of you who have worked with Scott have seen them too. And it's for those reasons and a number of others that we've chosen to give the award to Scott this year. To conclude, I want to share with you a quote from President Calvin Coolidge by way of former UCLA basketball coach John Wooden. President Coolidge said, "No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave." And I really think that's what we're here honoring tonight, the service that Scott has given to his community and to the YCT community, and to the service that all of you in this room, what you give to our communities every day. So on behalf of our family, we are very privileged to celebrate with all of you tonight and to present Scott with the 2017 Herbert Lieberman Award for Community Service.
There's my mother crying over there. There's my mother. Crying since September 6, 1991 has not stopped. Oh, God almighty. Good evening. It is a tremendous honor for me to be here with all of you this evening. I would like to begin by thanking the Lieberman family, Sharon, Steve, and Rachel, for, number one, giving me this award. It's a tremendous honor. But most of all, for your continued support to YCT. I've wanted to be a rabbi since I'm about 15 years old. That woman over there, Bonnie Sussman, is my family's rebbitzin from Staten Island. And Rabbi Sussman and Bonnie have inspired me since I'm about that age to become a rabbi. And due to your support, the time you give to the yeshiva, the resources, the love, my dreams have come true. And I want to thank you for everything you've given me, everything you've given the students, the faculty, the staff here at this yeshiva. I really, really appreciate it. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you very much. I'd just like to take 2 minutes to tell you about my initiative that I began last year with Erin London. Erin London is a student at Yeshiva Maharaj. She's actually graduating this year. And I met Erin last year. I organized a bar night at Promenade Bar and Grill. It's a kosher restaurant in the city. And it was a bar night for rabbinical students from the various denominations. And we got together, people from HUC, of the Reform Movement, JTS of the Conservative Movement, YCT and Yeshivat Maharat of the Orthodox denomination. And I met Erin there, and she told me about Gam Yachad, which was a multi-denominational Beit Midrash that she started in Israel. And I loved the idea, because throughout my YCT career, I've participated in different fellowships and internships that bring different rabbinical school students together, APAC, UJA Federation, other organizations. But this one, Gam Yachad, was grassroots. It was an initiative started by students, run by students, for students. And I love the idea of rabbinical students from the various denominations learning Torah together. So this past January, Jerisha Institute for Jewish Education on the west side of Manhattan lent us their space. And we've been meeting once a month since January. And we get together, students from the various rabbinical schools. We learn Torah together. But the Torah that we learned over the last few months has been spiritual, personal Torah. Torah of the heart. Why did we become rabbis? Why did we choose the rabbinical schools that we went to? What are the challenges of being in the rabbinical school that we are in? What are the blessings of being in that rabbinical school? We spoke about being lonely. Being a rabbi could be a lonely profession. You can't really be best friends with your congregants, because they're also people who hire you and fire you, for better or worse. So this coming year, with the support of the Lieberman family, I will be working with my team. We started a steering committee of students from Yeshivat Maharat, HUC Rabbinical School of the Reform Movement, JTS. We have a steering committee, and we organize the monthly sessions. We pick the topics that we're going to discuss, the things that we're going to learn. And God willing, for the coming year, we'll be meeting for the 10 months of the school year next year. God willing, we'll be providing dinner, so I hope to see all of you there. All you YCT students, get your friends to come from the various rabbinical schools, and hopefully we'll be doing more intense learning. Real texts, speaking about things that, we spoke about nice topics, things that you can't really get mad at each other about because it's your personal story. But hopefully things that are a little more controversial, things that we don't agree on. The role of women in the Jewish community, the place of LGBT people in the Jewish community. Not everybody agrees on these things. Israel, all of these various topics, we'd like to discuss them. Discuss them, fight with each other a little bit, but passionately but respectfully. So I'm looking forward to continuing Gam Yachad this coming year, and I want to thank you again for everything.
Erev Tov, thank you so much, Scott. Rishut Hanasi, Rabbi Angel, EBD, and of course all those who are present and our Talmidim. I follow the halachic position of the Levush as well as the Arizal, who record that the first words that we should be reciting in our tefillah every morning are the following words. Harei ani מקבל עליי את מצוות הבורא, ואהבת לרעך כמוך. Behold, I accept upon myself the commandment of the Creator of the world to love my neighbor as myself. It's really extraordinary, because you would think that if God had any wish, the first thing we would say every morning is V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha v'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha. The first thing we should say is, I love you, O God. And yet, these decisives of the law, they suggest that the first thing that God would want us to say is, we accept your mandate to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Because that really so powerfully reflects the mission of what Torah is all about. You know, there are two kinds of synagogues, two kinds of Jews. There's a functional Jew, a functional synagogue, and then there is a mission-driven Jew and a mission-driven synagogue. Functionality is very important. As the Rav said, going to tefillah, prayer, and Talmud Torah is so central. But ultimately, what counts most, even more than functionality, is for us to understand the mission of what Judaism is all about. And that mission is a mission which embraces the functionality. It gives functionality its wings. And minion and functionality without mission is like a body without a soul. It's like a bird without wings, unable to fly. That's what Herbert Lieberman is all about. He used to come across the street and tell me, Rabbi, I'm not a religious man. And how many times did I tell him, Herb, you are a religious man? And he said, I'm not a religious man. I come here only on Yom Kippur. I said finally, okay, maybe you're not observant. Even then I said, by the way, I'm not sure, because of the 613 commandments, 365 are prohibitive commandments, which means if you do nothing, you observe most of the commandments. But okay, you're not an observant Jew, but you are a profoundly religious Jew. Your mission-drivenness makes you the kind of Jew who every morning rises and says, because he lives the words, Harei ani mekabel alai et mitzvat haborei. I accept the commandment of God to love my neighbor as myself. And so I love song, and it's a beautiful nigun that I want to ask everyone in Herb's honor to join me in singing, and it goes like this. Harei ni mekabel alai et mitzvat haborei ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha l'reacha kamocha. We've got to do better than this. Harei mekabel et mitzvat haborei. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And perhaps the best reflection of a person, if a person is so blessed, are his children. And so as I segue to saying something about Scott, I wanted to say something about my dear, dear friends, Sharon and Steve Lieberman, who live the mission and the depth of the religiosity, and are functional Jews as well, and mission-driven Jews, because you are your father's and father-in-law's greatest achievement. You know, Steve and Sharon, there's an expression in Tanakh that sometimes it's the case, Kishmo Kahu. Our names reflect very much who we are. And I was thinking about this yesterday and today, because you're so central to Chovevei, to everybody's life here, literally, to my life. And I was thinking about your last name. Your last name is Lieberman. And Lieber in Yiddish is an expression of love. And I often wonder, why is it? Or what is it that encapsulates? What is the word that most reflects who both of you are? And I think it's an interesting assignment, because for each of us, I think for every human being, there is one word. We have to look for that word. Just one word, not two. One word that is a reflection of who we are. And in thinking about all that you do, for me the common denominator is the word liba. It's the word ahava, which is love. I see it in every facet of your lives. I see it, Stephen, in the way you love your parents, the way you give honor to your father, the way you tibadeh l'chaim, you love your mother. Sharon, I see it in your relationship with your parents. The honor you gave to your father in his difficult end-of-life days was unbelievable. And the honor that, of course, you give to your mother. The honor that you give to your children. The endless love. The hours of discussions. The feelings that you have to all of your children. To little Benji, who was born into this world really struggling with life. Chris was after many, many weeks. You know why he made it and became the young man that he is? You loved him to health. It was that love, that ability, just not to give up. And here you are in what you've given to Chovevei Torah. You've given Sharon and Stephen beyond what one could ever imagine. The hours that you have given, and frankly, the money that you have given. I turned to you when Stephen, and brought his 6-number figure to the yeshiva, and they made a commitment to do it on a yearly basis. I said, Stephen, it's too much. There is an expression that the rabbis use, that although the world is full of sin'a mekakelet hashura, hatred that defies the rule, and all one has to think about is London a few days ago, and we're just a few miles from 9/11, and we're all lovers of Israel. What is it in a person that pushes a person to take planes into buildings? It's so irrational. Love defies, hatred defies the rule. Then the rabbis say, opposite hatred that defies the rule is that there are people who walk the face of this earth and they live ahava mekakelet hashura. Love defies the rule. And the rabbis conclude the reason we've made it to this day is because the love that defies the rule overpowers and overwhelms the haters who defy the rule. And Sharon, you and Stephen, you, my dear, dear friends, you've defied the rule. The way you have given, the way you have made Chovevei the institution that it is. You not only have served Chovevei, you not only have given to Chovevei, you've inspired others to walk in your footsteps. That's the greatest legacy of Herb Lieberman, to have children such as you. Children who not only say, but live the message of loving our fellow person as we love ourselves. And Scott, you're the recipient of this award. And we go back now a couple of years. I remember even when we started Porat, it was Scott who jumped up and said, I'll help and I'll open up my apartment in Washington Heights. We're going into Washington Heights, just a block from that other institution. I'll open it up. And I'm going into the Lions, and I said, Scott, please protect me. I'm not sure I'm going to make it out of here. You're a doer, Scott. So I want you to hear words that come from my heart. And I hope, Scott, this world is made up of givers and takers. And you're receiving this award, Scott, because you are of the givers. Givers and takers, givers and receivers. You are of the givers. And this world is made up of those who run from responsibility, and then there are others who assume responsibility. And for me, one of the great definitions of leadership is assumption of responsibility. And that's who you are, Scott. And I want to bless you, Scott. You are a very young man. And through you, I want to address and bless all the young men and young women in this room. You are in the spring of your lives. You are amongst all of you, like Scott, amongst the givers, amongst those who assume responsibility. Keep reaching higher and higher, Scott. And if ever you fall, which is inevitable, that's built into success, just stand up. And if you fall, stand up again. Seize the opportunity and rise higher and higher. I have on my desk a dialogue between two people which reflects our covenant with God. One person says to the second person, sometimes I'm so angry with God, I want to ask God, why is there so much poverty in the world? Why is there so much homelessness in this world? Why is there so much sickness in this world? And the second person says to the first person, then why don't you ask God that question? And the first person says, because I'm afraid that God is going to ask me that question as well. And so my blessing to all of you, to all of us, I bless you and ask you to bless me, that when we're given the challenge, in the presence of your Rebbe, Bani, who taught me so much at Stern College, going back quite a few years, in the presence of your Ima, I see your tears, Scott's mom. Let's offer the blessing that when God asks us, Ayekla, God asks us, where are you? That we have the ability to respond. Hineni, here I am. That's why Scott has received this award, because he has responded, here I am ready to do and do more and do more and more in the spirit of Harei Ani Mekabel Alai et Mitzvat Haborei V'ahavta L'reacha Kamocha. Mazal Tov. Oh, Siman, Siman.